Okay, so Sports 5 TV are here 10 years on from that memorable relay victory in Athens with Jason Gardner, the man who ran the first leg. When you were on those starting blocks, how are you feeling at the beginning?
Well, I'm very much aware it's the biggest race of my life. 76,000 spectators going out to a global wide audience of millions. Got three guys who are biggest race of their lives, depending on me to get us off to a good start, and that's my job, is to to give us a fighting chance. So what do? I'm the most reliable starter in the world, and I do a full start. But I knew I was going to do it literally just before I went up in the set position, and I thought I'm going to take my chance here because we needed to get a most fantastic start just to have a chance, because after my first leg we should have been 2 meters down. But we all go back to the start. The rules are that you can do one full start and then everybody's on the same warning. I was a seasoned professional, experienced, knew how to compose myself, knew that I had to focus on what's in front of me, and I got a great start, and my goal is to try and chase down the guy on the outside of me because the bends on staggers, and I got the Nigerian guy in lane 4, and I got the American, our greatest rival, Justin Gatlin, who won the 200 meters in lane 6. So I'm just trying to take some margins out of Nigeria, and also trying not to let Justin run away. So Darren, Marlon and Mark can see we've got a chance, because I think at the start of the race they were expected to beat us by over 11 meters, which is an absolute, hiding.
Sure, and we've all seen some problems in relay teams in the past, particularly with baton changes. Obviously it's a very difficult skill, crucial that you get that right. At what point in your leg are you start thinking about getting that baton in Darren's hand?
Well, once I get towards him, I know where his check marks are. Before the start of every race I go around, because every track's a little bit different, every bend is a little bit different, some are wide, some are sharper. And so it's just knowing roughly where the check mark is, to knowing where he's going to go off, and looking at the exchange zones, and knowing roughly where I'm going to be able to pass on the baton safely. We've been working together for a number of years, so we were as a quartet, we're an absolute cohesive team. We've had numerous success, winning Europeans, Commonwealths. We'd had silvers and bronzes at World Championships. We've broken the European record, which still stands to this day. So we were a seasoned quartet going out there. And when I come round, of course, my job is the responsibility of the guy holding the baton, the incoming runner, to safely put it into the outgoing runner's hands. And I know his temperament, I know his characteristics of how he'll get out, and how he won't give me his hand until he's fully ready, knowing he's in good speed going through that 20-meter exchange zone.
So once you've passed that baton, your job is essentially done. Darren's running the back straight. What are you thinking at this point? Are you thinking medal? Are you thinking gold? Are you thinking we've done this?
I'm thinking relief. I've done my job, and now I'm just a spectator like everybody else. But I've got probably not such a great view, because I've just got the people's backsides which I'm looking at, and it's very hard at this point to know if you're where you are positioned in the race. But I know usually if Darren and myself have done a good job, it starts to show with Marlon Devonish's bend, and Marlon was the best top bend runner in a relay race in the world, and the stagger's starting to unfold at this stage of the competition. And I can see that he's making absolute, giant improvements in terms of taking out speed against the other athletes. And the final changeover to Mark Lewis Francis, where we're 2 meters up ahead of the rest of the world, just reinforced how great a position we'd all, put ourselves into.
So at this point, as you mentioned there, that you've all done your job, the baton changes have gone smoothly. It's all down to Mark to hold off the great Maurice Green, of course. Did you think he could bring it home at this point? Obviously Maurice was such a great athlete. Did you see him catching him at all?
The belief of the team going out into the race was absolutely the highest belief I've ever had, where all 4 people were absolutely connected and had absolute belief that we were going to go out there and achieve what was deemed to be the impossible. And to see Mark Lewis Francis and Marlon Devonish get another seamless button exchange, it was art in motion, all three changeovers. And suddenly to see we're 2 meters ahead of the rest of the world was a bit of shock, because common sense and logic from looking at the stats beforehand, when you're supposed to be 11 or 12 meters down in the race, we're up. And then you've got a former world record holder, as you rightly said, starting to charge Mark Lewis Francis down. We've been in this position before, where we've given the baton to the anchor man in the lead. It takes a big man with big shoulders, and Mark's certainly got big shoulders, and he's a big man who handled it that evening, and it went right down to the wire. The most dramatic finishes, one of the biggest upsets of the Olympic Games. It will go down in Olympic history as one of the greatest defeats of the almighty favourites. And Mark got across that line 100th second ahead of Murray's screen, so it made for fantastic television viewing. And it pretty much, everybody that I speak to who watched that race or watches it when I'm delivering corporate presentations, still talk about what they were doing on that day when they watched how we beat the great USA.